I dabble in design. I'm a curator of architecture and design. I happen to be at the Museum of Modern Art, but what's important about that we're going to talk about today is really design. Really good designers are like sponges. They really are curious and absorb every kind of information that comes their way and transform it so that it can be used by people like us. And so that gives me an opportunity because every design show that I curate kind of looks at a different world. And it's great because it seems like every time I change jobs. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to give you a preview of the next exhibition that I'm working on, which is called Design and the Elastic Mind. The world that I decided to focus on this particular time is the world of science and the world of technology. Technology always comes into play when design is involved, but science does a little less. But designers are great at taking big revolutions that happen and transforming them so that we can use them. And this is what this exhibition looks at. If you think about your life today, you go every day through many different scales, many different changes of rhythm and pace. You work over different time zones, you talk to very different people, you multitask. We all know it, and we do it kind of automatically. Some of the minds in this audience are super elastic, others are a little slower, others have a little bit few stretch marks, but nonetheless, this is a quite exceptional audience from that viewpoint. Other people are not as elastic. I can't get my father in Italy to work on the internet. He doesn't want to put high-speed internet at home. And that's because there's a little bit of fear, a little bit of resistance, or just clogged mechanisms. So designers work on this particular malaise that we have, these kind of discomforts that we have, and try to make life easier for us. Elasticity of mind is something that we really need. We really cherish, and we really work on. And this exhibition is about the work of designers that help us being more elastic, and also of designers that really work on this elasticity as an opportunity. And one last thing is that it's not only designers, but it's also scientists. And before I launch into the display of some of the slides and into the preview, I would like to point out this beautiful detail about scientists and design. You can say that the relationship between science and design goes back centuries. You can, of course, talk about Leonardo da Vinci, many other Renaissance men and women, and there's a gigantic history behind it. But according to a really great science historian you might know, Peter Gallison, he teaches at Harvard, what nanotechnology in particular and quantum physics have brought to designers is this renewed interest, this real passion for design. So basically, the idea of being able to build things bottom up, atom by atom, has made them all into tinkerers. And all of a sudden, scientists are seeking designers, just like designers are seeking scientists. It's a brand new love affair that we're trying to cultivate at MOMA, together with Adam Bly, who is the founder of Seed magazine. That's now a multimedia company, you might know it. We founded about a year ago a monthly salon for designers and scientists, and it's quite beautiful, and Keith has come, and so Jonathan has come, and many others. And it was great because at the beginning it was this apology fest. Scientists would tell designers, I don't know what style is, I'm not really elegant, and designers would like, oh, I don't know how to do an equation, I don't understand what you're saying. And then all of a sudden they really started talking each other's language, and now we're already at the point that they collaborate. Paul Steinhardt, a physicist from New York, and Aranda Lash, architects, collaborated in an installation in London at the Serpentine. And it's really interesting to see how this happens. The exhibition will talk about the work of both designers and scientists and show how they're presenting the possibilities of the future to us. And I'm showing to you different sections of the show right now just to give you a taste of it, but nanophysics and nanotechnology, for instance, has really opened the designer's mind. In this case, I'm showing more the designer's work because they're the ones that have really been stimulated. A lot of the objects in the show are concepts, not really objects that exist already. But what you're looking at here is the work of some scientists from UCLA. This kind of alphabet soup is a new way to mark proteins not only by color, but literally by alphabet letters. So they constructed, and they can construct all kinds of forms at the nanoscale. And this is the work instead of design students from the Royal College of Arts in London that have been working together with their tutor, Tony Dunn, and with a bunch of scientists around Great Britain on the possibilities of nanotechnology for design in the future. New sensing elements on the body. You can grow hairs on your nails and therefore grab some of the particles from another person. They seem very, very obsessed with finding out more about the ideal mate. So they're working on enhancing everything, touch, smell, everything they can in order to find the perfect mate. Very interesting. And this instead is a typeface designer from Israel who has designed, he calls them typosperma. He's thinking, of course it's all a concept, of injecting typefaces into sperms and into spermatozoa, I don't know how to say it in English, spermatozoi, in order to make them become, to almost have a song or a whole poem written with every ejaculation. I tell you, designers are quite fantastic, you know. So, tissue design. Here, in this case, too, you have a mixture of scientists and designers. This here is part of the same lab at the Royal College of Arts. The RCA is really quite an amazing school from that viewpoint. One of the assignments for a year was to work with in vitro meat. You know that already you can grow meat in vitro. In Australia, they did it, this research company called Symbiotica. But the problem is that it's a really ugly patty. And so the assignments to the students was, how should the steak of tomorrow be when you don't have to kill cows and it can have any shape? What should it be like? So this particular student, James King, went around the beautiful English countryside, picked the best cow that he could see, and then put her in the MRI machine. And then took the scans of the best organs and made the meat. Of course, this is done with the Japanese resin food makers, but you know, in the future it could be made better. But that reproduces the best MRI scan of the best cow he could find. And instead, this element here is much more banal, something that you know can be done already, is to grow bone tissue so that you can make a wedding ring out of the bone tissue of your loved one, literally. So this is indeed made of human bone tissue. And this is Symbiotica, and you know, they've been working, they were the first ones to do this in vitro meat, and now they've also done an in vitro coat, a leather coat. It's minuscule, but it's a real coat. It's shaped like one. So we'll be able to really not have any excuse to be wearing everything leather in the future. One of the most important topics of the show, you know, as anything in our life today, we can look at it from many, many different viewpoints and at different levels. But one of the most interesting and most important concepts is the idea of scale. We change scale very often. We change resolution of screens, and we're not really fazed by it. We do it very comfortably. So you go, even in the exhibition, from the idea of nanotechnology and the nanoscale to instead the manipulation of really great amounts of data, the mapping and tagging of the universe and of the world. And in this particular case, a section will be devoted to information design. And you see here the work of Ben Fry. This is human versus chimps, the few chromosomes that distinguish us from chimps. It was a beautiful visualization that he did for Seed magazine. And here's the whole code of Pac-Man visualized with all the go to, go back to, also made into a beautiful choreography. And then also graphs by scientists, this beautiful digraph of protein homology. Scientists are starting to also consider aesthetics. We were discussing with Keith Schrupp this morning the fact that many scientists tend not to use anything beautiful in their presentations, otherwise they're afraid of being considered dumb blondes. So they pick the worst background from any kind of PowerPoint presentation, the worst typeface. It's only recently that this kind of marriage between design and science is producing some of the first pretty, if we can say so, scientific presentations. Another aspect of contemporary design that I think is mind-opening, promising, and will really be the future of design, which is the idea of collective design. You know, the whole EXO laptop, from one laptop per child, is based on the idea of collaboration and mesh and networking. So the more the merrier. The more computers, the stronger the signal. And children work on the interface so that it's all based on doing things together, tasks together. So the idea of collective design is something that will become even bigger in the future, and this is chosen as an example.